guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Stephanie and I'm a 29-year-old stay-at-home mom to my two boys, ages 2 and 4. This video is going to be pertaining to my Real Talk Tuesday series where I just kind of blab on about things that I feel really passionate about and have a lot of thoughts and words that I want to get out about. In particular today, I'm going to be talking about types of moms. Mom categories. I don't really know exactly how you would label this per se. For anybody who didn't know, or even if you do, this is just my thoughts on it. There are categories of mom. There is the two extremes, which is mainstream, and then you have crunchy. I don't have a definition per se for a mainstream mom, but to define the word mainstream, it is defined as the ideas, attitudes, or activities that are regarded as normal or conventional, the dominant trend in opinion, fashion, or the arts. And in this case, mom. I can hop onto Urban Dictionary and define crunchy mom. They generally believe, for varying reasons, that there is something bad or less beneficial about mainstream products or doing other common activities in the mainstream way. Kind of vague, but to kind of sum it up, mainstream, you do normal stuff. You buy the Clorox, you clean with bleach, you use a microwave, you take over-the-counter medications regularly, you receive vaccines, a lot of stuff, versus crunchy, who does pretty much the opposite of all of that. Crunchy moms are very holistic, non-toxic, naturopathic. I don't know if I said that correctly, but you catch my drift. Then you have the in-betweeners, who are kind of like me, who would consider themselves scrunchy. And that's obviously just in the middle there. But I have a problem personally, like I don't categorize myself. If somebody were to ask me to describe it in a way, I would use scrunchy to say, like, I am not fully crunchy. There's a lot that I do that is mainstream. There's a lot that I do that is crunchy. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is just because I kind of have an issue with the fact that there are these categories of mom. I feel like we're given so many reasons and so many methods as it is to cause like a divide. And I distinctly remember, and I think everybody has probably kind of experienced this, when you're becoming a mom for the first time, so many other mothers are like welcoming you with open arms, and like they literally talk about motherhood being like a club, like you're literally becoming a part of the mom club. And becoming a mother, just like anything else, unless you've experienced it, you really don't understand the gravity of being in that situation or having that title until you're there. And I understood that that's kind of what that meant. It's like, oh, now you're here, now you can experience it, now you can really get it. But it sounds so inviting, and it sounds so welcoming, and it sounds so warm, and it sounds so understanding. And then unfortunately you get in this and you make your own parenting decisions, and to part of this group club, you are so smart and so knowledgeable and so loving and compassionate, and then the other half, like, you're just a giant heaping pile of hot manure. And the thing of it is, it boggles my mind, because when you are a mom, you understand it. As long as you're a devoted enough mother, you understand that, like, the decisions that you make for the health and well-being of your children, you don't take lightly. And doesn't just come with like, oh, well, because I was just raised this way or whatever. Like, you wholeheartedly believe that the decisions that you make are for the benefit of your children and your family. Whether that's different than your neighbor, there really should not be the discrimination. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say that I've never had conversations with like-minded people, mothers, about kind of our way of parenting styles, and have had something to say in regard to not understanding how someone doesn't understand where I'm coming from or hasn't made the decision that I made. And like, that's normal. Like, you find like-minded people and you talk amongst yourselves about how you're like-minded. And you might talk about people who aren't like-minded and just how it doesn't make sense to you. But what it comes down to is, like, it doesn't have to make sense to you. All putting categories and titles on these different types of mom, all that does is promote this like divide, discrimination, judgment, and it's like sickening to me. It becomes very like cliquey. Like, it's not like where it's just a group of people with like-minded decision making in their parenting. It becomes where like you are shunned completely if you make different decisions. If heaven forbid your children's medical chart and what they receive throughout their life is not the same as, you know, their classmate, you could look like you're intentionally putting your kid in harm's way, and or worse, you're trying to make something awful happen to your child, which is just so asinine to me. So it makes absolutely no sense. I don't care if you want to put yourself in a category because it just makes sense to you or whatever the case, but the fact that anybody feels like they have the right to judge you for making a decision when, first of all, can I just say as well, I know I can say personally that being a mother is legitimately the most stressful and like anxiety ridden position that I've ever put myself into. I mean that in the sense of, I personally put a lot of research. I've dedicated a lot of my time and my life to really thoroughly, as best as I can, the world is at your fingertips, looking into everything when it came to my kids to make what I felt because this is a collective, my husband and I have both agreed on everything that we've ever done for our kids as far as like, you know, medically, what they eat, what they do with it, whatever. And a lot of time and effort went into making the decisions that we made. And I'm sure a lot of people can say the same thing, because if you're a devoted enough parent, like, you're gonna go that extra mile. And even if you don't, I'm not saying like, even if you've never done a lick of research into what you're doing as far as raising your children, but you've been raised in a way that it was just normal and right and sound to you, and you fully believed it was the best thing to do for your family, then how can you not do anything but give somebody a pat on the back for that? Just because it looks different than the person next to you. The worst part of it is that there's people who really, like I said, I'd be lying if I said I didn't talk about unlike-minded people in a sense of like, I don't get why they don't do, you know, this, that, whatever. And like I said, I don't have to. And you want to talk about that kind of stuff amongst like-minded people, then like, by all means. But these categories that you're put into causes a lot more than just like argumentative like banter back and forth over what's right. Which, first of all, none of us knows what's right at all. We all are just going with the flow and trusting that what we believe is the best thing and not really knowing for sure if it is. And there are people that will literally like attack another mother for doing something different than they are and just put them down or like shun them from their life even. I've experienced like where friends or people, family, whatever, kind of either have removed themselves from my life, have backed away a little bit, kind of stepped back, and just have had very strong opinions about decisions that we have made as parents. And that's fine if you want to do that. But what gets me most about that too is it's like, it definitely feels like it's more so people like kind of in your inner circle who have so much to say about the decisions that you make. Meanwhile, this is where my mind is with that. I have family and friends who do things very differently than I do, but you know what? I love my family and friends, and I know, and I love their kids, and I know they love their kids. So I wholeheartedly trust that the decisions that they made were based on what they felt was right, and I can have nothing but respect for that. And I don't understand why that mentality is not like just the focal of everybody. You don't have to understand. You don't have to bash somebody. You don't have to try to make them feel like absolute garbage for making a decision that you don't believe in, because you don't have to believe in it. Like, if it's not your life, if they're not your children, you just have to trust that that person is really doing what they think is best and just respect that. And that's it. If that's something that you can't handle and you have to remove yourself, then like, so be it. I mean, to each their own. I feel like that's a little ridiculous. But to just pass so much judgment is honestly just sickening and just says more of you as a person than it does that person as a mother that you're judging them for. You understand? Like, this went from like categories of mom to like basically mom shaming, but that's kind of like the point I wanted to make about this is like, I feel like it's so unhealthy to have categories like that. Like, why can't it just be like I'm a mom and I do X, Y, and Z, or just I'm a mom. Like, you don't have to know what I do or agree with what I do or the decisions that we've made, but you can just respect me and know that like we're all like muddling through and like struggling to keep our heads on straight with crying, screaming children and whatever else comes with, you know, older children in the future. I've never experienced that yet, but like, we all just know that this isn't easy. Like, regardless of what decision you're making for your kid as far as are they heating their food up with a microwave? Is there food dyes in their fruit snacks? Are they vaccinated? Are they not? It's very silly to me, and it's something I personally will just never understand. I will never understand why anybody would voluntarily put themselves in a category, essentially just to shun anybody who they put in the opposing category. All in all, I wanted to talk about this to say, before you go passing judgment on somebody else's parenting choice or their decisions of how to raise their children or how their children are being raised, what they're being raised to believe, and all of that, like, really take a good hard look in the mirror and make sure that you're perfect first. Which not a single one of you, I can't do. It's completely useless to try to start a war amongst the people that, like, honestly really get your struggle. It doesn't make any sense to me. And at the end of the day, like I said, we're all just really trying to make it out alive and keep our kids happy and healthy and all around well and civilized human beings, and it's a struggle. If you have ever experienced a family member or a friend or a peer shunning you for a decision that you've made when you've thought long and hard about those decisions because you really just felt deep in your mama heart that it was best for your kids, I'm sorry. And just know that, at least in my opinion, I know we're not all on the same wavelength with this, and that's totally fine. I respect that. But my mentality is always just, you know, you really do find out who is meant to be in your life as you get older, especially with children. And the people, whether it's unfortunately an old good friend or even a family member, those people who really are not meant to be in your life, and especially be in your kids' lives, due to it being an unhealthy relationship, unhealthy environment, those people will just weed themselves out. And I hope you don't ever take somebody's judgment to heart and feel like you're a bad parent or doing something wrong. If you are ever, I wouldn't say coerced, but if you are ever convinced to look into something a little bit deeper and you find that your mind about something changes, don't ever look at yourself as have been being a bad mom prior. We're all doing our freaking best. And there's going to be new stuff that comes up along the way. We're going to change our minds along the way of certain things. We're going to have a different perspective on things as we grow and they grow, and we all experience different things as the years go by. And the only thing you can do is go with your gut and just know that these little people that you're raising are little sponges, and don't go disrespecting somebody or disassociating with somebody or shunning somebody based on their own opinions. If you want to raise your children to be judgmental like that, I mean, more power to you, but I think we can all agree to just, like, we want our kids to just be good people, and a part of that is accepting that people are different in thousands of different ways. So be that example, because otherwise you're kind of being mean. So that's all I wanted to say. Whatever category of mom that you put yourself in or that somebody else puts you in, I respect you, I see you, I know the struggle, and we're just riding this wave out together here. I think we can all agree on that. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. The thumbs up, guys, really helps my channel, and I appreciate you guys so much for coming on here. And even if you don't make it through the video and you just come on and hit that like button, it means a lot to me and does a lot to help out my channel. Also, leave a comment down below if you've experienced anything that I have mentioned, how you feel about kind of the categories of mom, if you've been judged for whichever way you fall in those categories, and let's have a discussion. So thank you again. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you're all enjoying your day, night, afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.